Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Terp Family Fundamentals webinar series. My name is Danielle Walker. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Assistant Director in the Office of Family Engagement. For those of you that are new, this webinar series is intended to help you become informed consultants on campus resources so that you can better support your Terps. Today, we're joined by members of the Department of Resident Life. They are the dream team. So you all are lucky to be in their presence tonight. They will discuss everything you need to know about spring move-in, the many resources in place to help students acclimate to campus, and also meet other Terps, as well as how you Terp family members can support your Terp as they navigate the process. So a lot of resources for both Terp families as well as Terps themselves. If you find that you have any questions, please feel free to submit them via the Q&A feature. So to access the Q&A feature, find the two conversation bubbles towards the bottom of your screen. It should also say Q&A. If you don't see that, you may need to click the three dots to expand the toolbar. And to help us answer questions that the majority of you have, I ask that you use the upvote option. And then also within the Q&A feature, if you see a question, I think I just mentioned that the Q&A, the upvote feature, excuse me. We'll be prioritizing those upvote questions just to make sure that we're getting the information that you all really want to know. We'll do our best to respond to all of the questions that are presented tonight, but if not, there will be contact information at the bottom of the slide deck for you all to contact the Department of Resident Life directly. Lastly, I do want to remind everyone that this webinar is being recorded, so you will be able to view a recording of this tomorrow on the Terp Family YouTube channel. I'll be sending out an email first thing in the morning to you all with a link to visit the recording, as well as a survey to let us know how you did, or how we did, excuse me. So with that, I will hand off the presentation to Kia. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening or this afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. We are excited to talk to you today about move-in, about our department, and about living on campus. Before we jump into all of that good information, though, I want to make sure we do some introductions. I'm joined today by some wonderful, wonderful colleagues. So I will start. My name is Kia Whedon. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the assistant to the director. I'm going to invite Erin to introduce herself next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Schlegel. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the assistant directors with the communities team with the Department of Resident Life. So happy to be here with you. And I will pass it to Dan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Harefield. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the program manager for residential and community engagement. Back to you, Kia.
Thank you so much, friends. I also would like to have us now have a welcome with our director, Dennis Passarella George, who's going to introduce himself and just talk to you briefly before we jump into the rest of our webinar. Dennis.
Thank you, Kia. Good evening, everyone. First, I wanted to say welcome. Thanks for investing your time and joining us this evening on today's webinar. The team here in Resident Life has got a lot of great information to share with you to help prepare for move-in in just a few short days. I want to also thank you for choosing to be part of our Residence Hall community. We are much more than a place to live for students on campus, and the Maryland residential experience is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I hope you know that new or returning, transfer, or brand new student, that our residence halls are a place where all students can belong and thrive, and we've got a team of staff in all of our residence halls who are here to help, to be with you, to care for you, and offer you support during your time here as a Terp. We're thrilled to have you. We can't wait for the start of the spring semester, and I'm really glad that you've chosen Maryland and chosen the residence halls. I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation and know that we're here with you and for you, and go Terps. Back to you, Kia.
Thank you, Dennis. All right, so let's jump into it. Tonight, what we're going to talk about first is our move-in schedule and some tips. So a little bit about what to expect when you arrive on campus and begin the move-in process to get situated into your room. After that, we'll talk about room details as well as the roommate experience. So, what you can expect when you arrive, what will be in the room, and also understanding it's a shared space and some expectations and pro tips around that. After that, we'll take some time to talk about our safety protocols and expectations in our residence halls, as well as talk to you about some of our receptions and the engagement opportunities that we have to get you acclimated and hopefully help you transition onto campus. As Danielle said, obviously, if you have questions, you certainly can input them now, but we also will have time to do some live questions and then wrap up as well. So let's talk about the actual move-in. Housing assignments have gone out. You should have received that information very recently. And that information, your room and your hall dictates where you will go when you arrive on campus. We are asking that for our new residents to join us and begin the check-in process on Saturday, that's next Saturday, the 25th, from 10 a.m. to noon. When you arrive, you're going to arrive to your assigned residence hall and to the service desk that's associated with it. And we recommend checking in and getting settled during the time of 10 to noon because that time is dedicated for the new residents and give you ample time to hopefully then join us for our new resident and family welcome reception that Aaron will talk about a little bit later in our presentation. So just to give you a little bit about logistics around checking in and unloading and parking, when you enter campus and make your way to your residence hall or service desk, we ask that you temporarily park in the marked unloading zones that will be near your halls. To help reduce with wait times and to keep traffic flowing, the unloading zone drop-off locations near your residence halls are limited to about 10 minutes. And that may sound like a little bit of time, but really the unloading zone is for that. It's to unload your vehicle in that allotted amount of time and put your items on the curbside close to your hall. And then, hopefully, with a dream team of folks who can hopefully be driving the car to long-term parking while someone waits with the items and the student is going to get their key, you can then, honor that unloading zone time so that other Terps and their families can also have the chance to unload near their hall in a timely fashion. So I mentioned long-term parking. Long-term parking details are outlined via our website on the Move-In Day tab. It shares with you all of the long-term parking locations, which are fairly convenient to where our residence halls are. And so we strongly recommend that you check out that information in advance so that once you are done with unloading, you know where you can move your vehicle. And as I said, to help with the unloading and to help with moving into the room, we recommend bringing a dolly or a moving cart so that hopefully if you have a couple helpers, they can assist you. So again, assisting with getting the things to the curbside and then having someone wait with those items so that once the person who's moving the vehicle can come back and everyone can then hopefully check in and begin moving into the room. The check-in piece that will happen for our students when they go get their key is they will go to the service desk. We have staff who will help them and give them the proper key. And then everyone return to the curbside to help gather all of those wonderful belongings to take them to your room. And then once you're able to go up to the room, you can unpack and set up your room for as long as you would like. So after you move in, get checked in, and the car is in long-term parking, let's talk a little bit about what you'll find once you actually get to the room. So each room has a standard furniture package, and that includes a desk, dresser, bed, mattress, and closet space for each student. Students also have access to both wired and wireless internet for streaming Xfinity on campus. And you can see here on the slide that we have a couple examples of furnished and decorated rooms. And we have lots of examples of that on our website too. And it includes lots of resources to help you get a sense of the different styles of room and the amenities for each building and their communities. We have virtual layouts that give you 360 tours and could just kind of make you able to visually see how you might think about setting up the room. if there is no 360 for your specific building, there's often a comparable 360 for a room within the community that your room is in. So we've talked about moving, arriving to the hall. We've talked about what you might find in the room. Now let's talk a little about personalizing it and how to make your room hopefully feel like a home away from home. So we encourage personalizing your room. It certainly should be a space that you feel very comfortable in. But we also want to remind you to keep a few things in mind because as you move in and make it feel like a home away from home, it is a shared space. So it'll be important to not only think about what it means to share the space with another person, but also having some discussion with your roommate about what you plan to bring so that you can coordinate and collaborate. So you might be asking, well, how can I see that information? To go and check out your roommate information, students can visit the housing portal at starres.umd.edu, and then you will log in with your credentials, and your roommate information will be under the My Assignment link. So when you are thinking about, what exactly will I bring to make my room feel like a home away from home, you think about also what do you actually need? Since it is a shared space, and you need to be thinking about, how much do I truly, truly need? What do I need to bring? What don't I need to bring? Perhaps thinking about things like, it's a little cool right now. So perhaps those cooler weather clothes can stay at home for now and can come after spring break. So thinking strategically about what's necessary right now for me to feel comfortable in my room. And then as you or your student settles in, you'll see that the room will be in kind of a standard layout. And furniture can be rearranged, which is likely possible anyway if there's already a roommate in there. Just know that the furniture that's in the room cannot be removed. It must stay in there. So again, you can move furniture as you need, but we do ask to make sure that it does not block the air control systems that we have in the room, like heat, air conditioning, and dehumidification. Another pro tip that we'd like to share about personalization is thinking about putting things on the walls. We strongly recommend that you use blue painter's tape or poster putty to put up any sort of posters or pictures, as well as if you're interested in pulling up any of the LED lights to help your room look fabulous and what have you. Those tend to help with having minimal wall damage, the blue painter's tape and the poster putty. Speaking of, we also suggest avoiding getting decorative vinyl decals. We know they're pretty popular and they're super cute, but even though they are promoted to be easy to remove, we've found that they actually cause a significant amount of damage to walls and floors and some of the furniture, and as a result has resulted in some significant restitution for some folks. So again, if you want to put things on the walls, we certainly are in favor of that, but we ask that you use blue painter's tape or poster putty to do that. Now, if you're thinking about sending things in advance or ordering things from good old Amazon to help with decorating your room, we ask that you do not ship those items before you or your student moves in. Instead, please plan to have any packages or other deliveries shipped after you've arrived to campus and checked in. This is because shipping items early could prevent a delay in the ability to even receive them because they often have to be sorted. So again, once you have arrived to campus and you're checked in and all good, that's when we would recommend that you plan to have any sort of deliveries shipped to your hall or your desk. Lastly, just want to highlight that we have on our website a nice helpful list of what to bring and what not to bring when thinking about the items to decorate your room. And in thinking about what not to bring, those items certainly include anything that could be related to fire or electrical safety, including e-scooters and lithium-ion batteries. So we've talked a bit about moving, what to expect in the room, personalizing the room. I'm now going to send it over to Erin, who's going to talk to you more about the roommate experience and safety.
Great. Hi, everyone. So my name is Erin, and I'm excited to chat about the roommate experience with you. So like Kia mentioned, you can now find your roommate information via the housing portal. And it's really important that you encourage your student to reach out to that person to discuss what they should be bringing and what's already in the room. It's important to know that for many of you, the room you're moving into has been occupied for a semester. And so there's probably some things that you might not have to bring. So it's really important to start that conversation prior to arrival. And for many students, having a roommate is a brand new experience. And so starting that relationship early is very important. Even if your student might know their roommate from, say, high school or childhood, they likely have never shared a living space with that person. And so there can be a big adjustment even for students who have a history with their roommate. One of the best pieces of advice that we can share with you this evening is that the best way to have a good roommate is to be a good roommate. These relationships are very much reciprocal, and not everyone has this experience of sharing a space with someone else. So we cannot understate the importance of communication. It's so important. And it's also important that each student is invested in the relationship to make it work, that they have an open mind, that they come with a willingness to compromise and talk through any concerns or problems that they might be experiencing with their roommate. We have so many fantastic stories of wonderful roommates who did not know each other before coming to campus and living in the halls and have become really great friends because they were able to talk through things and were able to reach out for help when they needed it. All right. And so we also have so many wonderful opportunities for your student to build on their relationship with their roommate and the others within their community upon arrival. So that first night when they arrive, there will be a meet and greet experience that will be hosted by the RAs and the staff of their building. And that's a great time for your student to meet other new students within the community who arrived the same day. There will be lots of really fun activities happening in community that Saturday night. And then transitioning to Sunday, we'll have a plethora of winter welcome activities. There'll be opportunities for the RAs to talk through our community living agreement with roommates. So the community living agreement is essentially a roommate contract that prompts roommates to talk through different aspects of community living. So that could include visitation, cleanliness, and how we want to use the space. And the RAs will certainly work through those community living agreements with roommates to hopefully set them up for a successful relationship. And it's important to know that we are here to help. We have our RAs and professional staff throughout our communities to support your student. So if a problem should ever arise for your student, whether it's with their roommate or something else, their RA is a resource to help mediate, resolve conflicts, and to assist them in finding resolutions, as well as multiple levels of professional staff. So we are here for you. Please don't forget that. All right. And now let's talk a bit about safety. There's lots that we provide in the residence halls to provide a safe environment. And we also have expectations for our students in order to keep our communities as safe as possible. So in our residence halls, our entrances are secure, so they are locked 24/7. That means that to enter the residence halls, you need to swipe your ID card to get into the building. And then you also need to swipe your ID to access hallways, stairways, and elevators, and then use your room key to enter your room. We also have our 24/7 service desks, which are staffed by our wonderful community assistants. So at any point in time, your student can come to the service desk to access a key if they get locked out, a spare swipe card if they need it, or to ask questions, or to seek help in an emergency situation. And then we also have our on-call staff to help out anytime after business hours. So certainly during business hours, our staff team is here. And then once our office is closed, we have multiple levels of staff from the RAs through multiple layers of professional staff as well. All right. So those are some of the things that we provide to maintain a secure environment. And we also expect that our residents are being safe. Safety requires a commitment from everyone. And so students should lock their doors at all times and carry their keys and swipes with them. Even if they're just going down the hall to use the bathroom or to access a community lounge, they should always lock their door. We also want our students to be responsible for their guests. So anytime a student brings a guest into the community, our students are responsible for their guest behavior. So we expect that our students are bringing others whom they trust and know into this community. And again, if your student should ever see something that's concerning, we are here to help. They can contact the service desk, and we are on the ready to provide support. So if something doesn't seem right, they should certainly let us know, and we will support them. All right. Now that we've talked through safety, I want to highlight a really wonderful event that you are all invited to, and that's our new resident and family welcome reception. Kia alluded to this earlier in the presentation. So this event will take place on the day of move-in, so Saturday, January 25th. And the event will begin at 1 o'clock and will be over in the atrium in Prince George's room of the Stamp. And so during this event, it's a time for all of our new residents and families to come together. Our director, Dennis, will welcome you all. We will also have our dining services colleagues there so that all of our new students can have their biometric hand scans taken. That is how students access the dining hall. So it'll be important that you come on over so your student can do that. And then many of our colleagues from across the Division of Student Affairs will be present as well to answer any questions. We'll have refreshments and there'll be some connection activities. So it's a really wonderful way to kick off your residence hall experience with us. And we really hope you can make it and that we can see you there. All right, now I'm going to turn things over to Dan to talk more about the wonderful events that you can expect upon your arrival.
All right, and I'm back. So before I jump into the events, and thank you, Kia and Aaron, for all of that wonderful setup for our move-in experience and that initial reception to help welcome your students and you all to this campus community. I want to highlight a resource. We have a wonderful partnership with one of our local businesses here. I mean, IKEA is a big corporation, but we have a wonderful store here in the College Park area. And they have put together an offer for students here at the University of Maryland campus to be able to go online to their store, make purchases through the online store between the 24th and 30th of January. And then they're going to bring those orders directly to campus to pick up from Annapolis Hall on the 31st between 10 and 2 p.m. So this is a nice, easy way to be able to place an order and be able to pick up those items here on the campus. There are some additional benefits in terms of reduced costs for students if you register with IKEA. They have events and different activities that take place over the course of the year. But this in particular is a beneficial resource for students in the move-in and setup process with their time here in our residence halls. Of course, let me harken back to Aaron's comment about roommates and make sure to re-emphasize that if you are looking to make purchases and buy certain items through this or any other resource, that you're having those connections, you're encouraging your student to have those connections with their future roommates so that they're planning appropriately and not duplicating or getting unnecessary items for the room. All right, so then with that, we're going to move forward into the activities of Winter Welcome and beyond. So Saturday is all about community connections. Once we, have the initial reception for new residents and families, we're going to do everything else more community centric. So the meet and greets are within residential communities. Immediately after meet and greet, students will go together as a community to dinner, either at the Ahenta Meetsi Dining Hall on North Campus or the South Campus Dining Hall for our students over in the North Hill, South Hill, Leonardtown areas. After that, as Aaron mentioned before as well, community events, those are going to be various times and locations based on the individual communities. All this information will be available between our website schedule and at these meet and greets and in community promotions that students will find once they get here. After the activities on Saturday, then we have a bunch of fun activities on Sunday as well. So, one of the things, if you don't know about Maryland women's basketball, we have a phenomenal team. This is a constantly competing for national title level athletic program here for our women's basketball, and it's going to be a top 10 matchup during this opening weekend. So, women's basketball versus UCLA over at the Xfinity Center. We want there to be huge attendance, huge energy and excitement. And it's a great way to get introduced to the campus culture, the athletic culture here at Maryland, and the energy of being a Terp. After that, over in the STAM Student Union, we're going to host a couple different engagements. The first one being a focus on thinking ahead to the semester and how are you going to be successful in your classes. So academic success is a core part of what we try to support here in the residence hall communities. And we have a workshop that we're going to host in the atrium of the Stamp Student Union at 4 p.m. on that Sunday. Immediately following that, the chill zone. It's kind of our more social, fun, community building sort of experience. There's going to be karaoke, arts and crafts, games, some light refreshments. It's a way for students to really start making some more significant connections, continue to build those networks, and move forward into the semester on a strong foot. So we have these are the events just specifically for opening weekend. And technically, these are also kind of the kickoff to what we call the Find Your Squad series, which is a number of events during the first few weeks of the academic semester to help students really build those networks and build those community connections. So starting with winter welcome and then moving forward into game night during the first week of classes, which will be hosted alongside our Residence Hall Association on both sides of campus. So if you live on North Campus, you'll head over to the Cambridge Community Center. If you live on South Campus, you'll head over to Prince Frederick Hall. So just a nice, lighthearted, simple way to start making some connections. There'll be some trivia and some small prizes as well, and some light refreshments, but really just having fun with other students here during that first week of classes and learning a little bit about how you might want to get involved with hall and area councils with the Residence Hall Association. And then later in February, mid-February, Wednesday the 12th, we're going to be over in the Terp Zone, which is our bowling alley and rec hall in the Stamp Student Union. We are going to prepay for students to just enjoy 2 hours of free bowling and pool and video games and continue those connections with each other there. So these are just a few things that we're doing in connection with our department. And then beyond that, Find Your Squad kind of pops into other experiences here in those first few weeks as well. In the fall semester, we have what's called the First Look Fair, which is where the 650 plus student organizations come out to McKeldin Mall and students can browse and try to figure out how they want to get involved and engaged around campus. Well, we don't want our students who are starting here in the spring semester to miss out on that. So we do the Second Look Fair. And instead of it being on McKeldin, because it's a little cold outside, I think it's supposed to be 12 degrees sometime as a high next week. So we want to be mindful of that. We're going to be over in the Stamp Student Union for the Second Look Fair on February 6th from 10 to 3. This is a great way to start making those connections to campus organizations. Find your thing, your niche, your activity that's going to just really help inspire you outside of the classroom. So you can certainly see more information on the STAMP website at stamp.umd.edu. And they have specifically a link for the Second Look Fair. The day after that, on that Friday the 7th, is what's called the STAMP All-Nighter. I'll admit it's not technically all night, but it runs from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. And it's just a whole series of different experiences and activities and engagements, performances, games, arts and crafts, movies at the Hoff Theater. And it's all going to be kind of built around, which funny for me to think about now, but nostalgia being the early 2000s. So boy bands and pop artists and flip phones, razor phones, whatever comes to mind when you think of the early 2000s, it's going to be themed around all of that. So students should get excited about that experience. Our student entertainment events, or C, really does an amazing job pulling together campus organizations and student groups and all sorts of different activities to make this an incredible experience. Right. So that's just a little bit of what we have going on with campus events. There's going to be plenty more happening throughout the year, but I also want to turn it back over to Aaron so we can kind of think ahead. You're just going to be getting ready for the move-in process and then already have to start thinking about, well, what about next year? So let me send it back over to Aaron.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Like Dan just said, our room selection process happens very early in the spring semester. And so this is just a heads up to let you know how quickly that process will get started so that students can select their space for the 25-26 academic year. So the first step in that process is to complete the Residence Hall Housing and Dining Agreement. That is available now, and the deadline for that is February 24th at 4 p.m. There's no financial commitment for completing that form. It doesn't tie you to anything at this stage of the game. It just indicates to us that your student is interested in staying on campus for next year and would like to participate in room selection. We have so many different types of housing options for students, from traditional style housing, semi-suites, suites, and apartments. So there's lots of different options, and you can learn more about room selection on our website. And then we have 2 upcoming opportunities to learn more about the process. So we have our Spring Stay On webinar, which will take place on Wednesday, February 12th at noon. And then we will have a room selection workshop on Thursday, February 27th at 3 p.m. Your student can also expect in the spring semester different opportunities to find new roommates whom they might want to live with next year. Part of room selection is depending on the space you'd like to live in, is forming a group. So for example, if you want to move into a semi-suite, you would need to find 3 other people to live with. And so we're going to host lots of different opportunities for students to find others who they might want to live with. And all of those opportunities will be posted on our website soon. But for right now, we just wanted to make sure you were aware of this so that you can start to plan accordingly, because we know how quickly it comes upon us in the spring. All right, and so with that, we're going to head to Q&A.
Thank you. I was just responding to one of the questions. This was about the links that we have. So I will be copying all of these links that are in the chat, excuse me, and sharing them in the email that you all get tomorrow with a link also to the YouTube channel and a survey. So all of these links that are in the chat, I'll be providing those to you all as well. So I pulled some questions that I saw a couple people asking, and so I do want to share some information about those. So questions about tuition and how you pay the housing bill and things like that, that is through our Student Financial Services and Cashiering office. And so if you go to billpay.umd.edu, I'll put that link in the chat as well. But again, I'll have this available in the email that I send you all. So that's where you will be able to pay tuition and all of that For families, if you are supporting your student in that way, there is a process for you to get access and pay a bill on behalf of your student. And so the link that I put in there is to the parents page. And so that'll let you know how you go about to get access. Your student will grant you access, and then you can go on and pay bills and whatnot. So just make sure you request access, and you'll be good to go there. Uh, Also for dining, we had some questions about dining and how you can figure out what your meal options are. So our colleagues in dining services, they have a great website that has all of those details available. So I've put that in the chat. And then also there were some questions about parking. And so I am putting that also in the chat. That is our Department of Transportation Services, or DOTS, DOTS. They are how you can go about purchasing a resident parking permit, but also they have great information about Shuttle UM. And so I know there was a question about or a comment about where someone was located on campus and how they get to another part of campus. The Shuttle UM system is amazing. They have an app that you can see where the shuttles are, how long it may take to get to you, all of that good stuff. So for students, definitely download the Shuttle UM app. It's called Transit, I believe. And so you'll be able to see where all of the shuttles are, times, and all of that stuff. There were some questions about students who may not be able to move in during the 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. window. Can you just share or reiterate what that student may need to do if they're unable to make that 10 to 12 window?
You take it, Kia.
I can see us both be like, who's the answer? Yes. If the 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on January 25th time period does not work for your schedule, that is totally okay. That is a recommended time for us, for new students, to help our new residents move in and then hopefully have time to get to the new student and family welcome reception, which is okay. If it doesn't work for your schedule, that's fine. Our staff are prepared to welcome students who are moving in and checking in anytime after 10 a.m. on Saturday, the 25th. So that could be later in the day, in the evening, it could be on Sunday. Whatever works for your schedule. We just recommend, if at all possible, to be moved in to be ready for your classes.
Great, thank you. And you mentioned this, but just to reiterate that for folks, for students who are assigned a roommate that they don't already know, how can they go about finding that contact information ahead of time?
Hello, that information can be found in their housing portal. It'll indicate who their roommates are and the contact information for them.
Thank you. And in the chat, I believe one of the earlier links would be StarRes. And so that's the portal for you to get that information. For those of you who are helping answer questions, were there any other questions or comments that you want to elaborate on or share for the larger group?
I'm not sure if this came through the chat, but I want to emphasize something that Kia mentioned in her portion of the presentation. We do not allow electric scooters in the residence halls or lithium-ion batteries. So if you were thinking about bringing a scooter to campus, I would reconsider that because it is a policy violation for them to be inside of our residence halls because they pose a significant fire hazard. Happy to chat about that more, but please avoid bringing your scooters. Thanks.
Yes, and just to clarify, they are not allowed in any buildings on campus. So, yeah, just keep that in mind.
Danny, I wanted to share one other question that I saw in the chat. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Plez. I am the Communications and Outreach Manager for Resident Life. We did get a couple questions about what does the inside of our specific residence hall look like? And while we don't have a 360 tour of every single room on campus, unfortunately, we do have a look at the layout and even some room decor inspiration on our website with those 360 tours that do outline nearly every single one of our housing options and room layouts, including singles, doubles, semi-suites, apartments. So while we might not have your specific residence hall represented on our website in that 360 tour, we do have a look at your room type, and then that can give you a sense of what the spacing looks like and what that room might look like in your specific residence hall.
Great, thank you. Any other notes or comments that folks want to share? It looks like all of the questions in the Q&A have been responded to. Oh, there was one that just came in. Just want to clarify, sounds like there will not be any resources to assist with movement as far as large rolling bins or dollies. Can you all share more about that, please?
Yes, no worries on that. So we do actually have some of those kind of large rolling bins that are available in individual communities. We just don't have one for every individual resident that's moving in with us during these move-in periods. So that's why we recommend that if you have a hand truck or a dolly or some sort of moving cart that you can easily bring with you, then that's just a great benefit and resource to have. Otherwise, when you get to your residence hall for checking in, there will be some of those yellow bins and moving bins in the lobby that you can check out with the service desk.
Thank you. And I do want to share, we will be having another webinar with the Resident Life team next month, actually, when we talk about room selection for the fall semester. So if you do have any questions about what that process may look like for families, how you can support your student in that, what questions you can try asking to start thinking about that process, we'll be having a webinar about that, all about that next month, and you'll be getting more information about that shortly. So just FYI, if you have some questions about that process, we'll be having another webinar about that. So it looks like the questions in the Q&A have all been answered. If there's no one else, let me see if I can look at some faces. It doesn't look like anyone has any other things to share, so I'll go ahead and close us out. I do want to thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Contact information for the Department of Resident Life is here on this screen. I will also be sending an email to you all tomorrow morning with a recording of this webinar. All of the links that were shared in the chat, there were a ton of links, and so I'll make sure that all of those are included in the email that I send you. And they'll also be included in the description of the video recording on YouTube. So you'll be able to refer back to them at any point. I also within that email will be a survey for you to share your feedback with us. Let us know how we did, how we can improve, and also content that you are hoping from us. So specifically for families, if there is information that you really would like to learn more about, or departments or resources that you would love to learn more about, please let me know through that survey. I enjoy connecting with campus partners all across the university, so I'd be happy to set up some webinars with those campus partners. So definitely let us know what topics you'd be interested in learning more about. So thank you all again for joining us this evening, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Go Terps!